Doug Weed for their thoughts. Doug, what do you think about this being finally no longer just emergency use authorization?
Well, Heather, Bob, this whole discussion has me troubled. I believe in vaccine, and I was vaccinated. And I remember as a child, we were proud of the polio vaccine. Everybody got it. We wanted to get it. We were ordered to get it. We got it. But it went through all the trials that now the Pfizer vaccine has apparently passed. And we haven't had these trials. And so I respect the fact that there are scientists and doctors who want to talk about it. That, to me, what's troubling is the extinguishing of any discussion and freedom of speech, and having Facebook and Twitter and big tech canceling out some of our greatest medical professionals and scientists in the world. We should have healthy discussions about this. It's wonderful, it's great, but let's not end freedom of speech.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Craig, maybe sort of a crazy question, but you're a Reagan expert. Ronald Reagan, can you imagine him having mandates as far as vaccines are concerned?
No, absolutely not. Reagan was a student of the American Constitution, and he knew the 10th Amendments intimately, including the Fourth Amendment, which prevents the government from compelling us to do what we don't want to do. And he would never have issued any mandate order. He would have urged us to voluntarily get vaccinations and voluntarily take practices and voluntarily, protect ourselves. But never, ever would he use government to coerce any of us into doing anything we didn't want to do, and more importantly, we shouldn't do.
And speaking of that, take a look at what's happening in Australia right now, Doug. Australian government cracking down on those who refuse the lockdown and refuse the vaccination. Police rolling through the city, arresting people who are not vaccinated and break the curfew or the lockdown. Do you think that we're on our way to become the next Australia?
Well, in some respects, I think, Heather, we've gone beyond Australia. But this was what I was talking about. This is what is so troubling. I mean, I don't want to make comparisons to Nazi Germany, but I can't think of anything else to compare. When they had their own science, they created their own anti-Semitic science and stuffed it down the throats of their own people and led to horrible disaster. It's just, we need to have sunshine. We need to have freedom to pursue science and to discuss it. And we don't need police on the streets trying to force a government opinion.
Craig, we only have about half a minute here. What we know of this presidency, better than Jimmy Carter, worse than Jimmy Carter?
I think the jury is still out on that. I think that comparing Jimmy Carter's loss of Iran and Joe Biden's loss of Afghanistan are important turning points in history. The only question now is, of course, Iran, we were left with hostages there that Reagan had to get out once his presidency took hold. It's a question of whether the hostages are taken in Afghanistan. American hostages are taken in Afghanistan. But I would say the two of them would rank among the worst presidents in American history.
It feels like it. I'm old enough to remember that era. So we'll talk more about this, Joe.
How about the loss of America?
Yeah, we're not going to lose America. We've got to go right now. Craig, Shirley, Doug Weed, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Coming up, we'll have more of American.